Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Now let me introduce to you, for the first time, your next Vice President of the United States,
Chad Benson.
Kamala Harris.
Oh, wasn't me. That was yesterday after a couple power outages. Was not a strong start to the Biden-Harris adventure that is. It was, was it exciting? No, I don't find any of these things exciting anymore. I don't. It's just, we got stuff going on, people. We got other things going on. We've got a world right now that is in disarray. Some of it is self-inflicted. Some of it is because nature, and as we always remind everybody, nature will mess you up. At the end of the day, people are worried about a lot of different things. They're worried about the economy. They're looking around saying, all right, I'm probably not going to die from this. Grandma and Grandpa may. If you have real issues physically, health-wise, you might. But they're worried about their paycheck, or the lack of a paycheck, or the fact their paycheck's been halved, or the fact that they no longer have a business and they're staring bankruptcy in the eyes, and they're trying to figure out what to do to hold on to what little they have left after building up something, and through no fault of their own, they're sitting around going, what's the next step? Then they look to government. Never look to government for help. But they're trying, or they're not really.
There really hasn't been any contact between congressional Democrats and the White House. Why is that?
Because we have a vast difference in our values. Children are affected by these negotiations. When commentators say to me, why can't you resolve your differences? Because we're miles apart.
Yeah, you're miles apart. Children are affected. Of course they are. Children are affected. So are other people. Yesterday, she's talking about, if we don't get this done, people are going to die. If we don't get people paid. And I'm thinking to myself, Trump comes out and says, people are going to die if we don't open up the economy. He's an evil person. You're saying if the government doesn't pay people, they're going to die. And somehow you're supposed to be a hero. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. All sides. It's a pissing contest that we don't need. But that's what we have. We have people who are more interested in sound bites.
Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are holding the American people hostage over.
Then solutions. They're holding the American people hostage.
Look, the Democrats aren't taking this as a serious issue. They aren't acting like this is serious, and the American people are hurting in the meantime. Let's get outside the Beltway and listen to how this crisis has impacted real American families and how the Democrat stonewalling continues to hurt them.
Should be a clean bill, should be done. Do you want what it's like, what's going on in the world? Should we do that? I think we should. I think we should listen to people who are real. What's it like for you? They don't want a paycheck given to them by the government. They want to work. They want a business that's rolling. They want to be able to go back and do what they did before. They're watching their lives financially disintegrate. That will take years and years to put back together. Their hard-earned businesses, places they've built, things they've achieved, gone. The stresses that they were under before, people who were struggling, are under even more stress. This is reality.
We became extremely popular. Our business was trending nothing but up, and right to the day that the pandemic hit, we were annihilated. To put it mildly. We saw our sales decline 20 to 25% the first weekend in March. We saw our sales decline 90% the second week in March, and then we were done. We had no outdoor space at all, so it wasn't, and we had really no takeout business and no delivery. It's not like you could just snap your fingers and have a takeout business and a delivery. That's not how people use Montclair Social Club.
Gone. Done. This is what it looks like. This right here is what it looks like. That's real world. That's real world. Well, you're being shut down. Why are you being shut down? Well, because the pandemic's going on. So we got to shut you down, and because you are the potential of being a mass spreader. Your place is the hub of death with snacks.
They loved going to Montclair Social Club, spending time with their friends, running into their other friends, meeting new friends, maybe a poster child for what doesn't work during a pandemic.
Look, businesses have to adapt in certain situations, but at some point in time, government comes in and shuts you down. Out here in Arizona, and I look around the country, Florida, Texas, Kansas, right, the Carolinas, New York, California, I look around and they're all doing something different. Trump gets a lot of blame. It's all Trump's fault. All of this is Trump's fault. The way he's handled this is Trump's fault.
His refusal to get testing up and running. His flip-flopping on social distancing and wearing masks. His delusional belief that he knows better than the experts.
Well, there is some truth in that. He has flip-flopped. He's done stuff. But you remember this? I'm going to take you guys back in a Wayback Machine. About 4 months ago, CDC, all of these things. And remember, the CDC and the WHO is like, it's not airborne. It is airborne. You can only catch it like this. They've changed, Fauci, it's not really a big problem. It's not going to come here. Everybody's had their issues, but we're going to focus on one man. That's totally fine. There was phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Those were the federal guidelines that they put out there. Remember, you got to get to this, phase 1 to reopen. Then when you get here, phase 2 reopens. And then when you get here, phase 3. This is the guidelines. I'm handing these things to the states. What did the states do? Do you guys remember that? They tore those things up and did their own thing. That's all Trump's fault. Why is that Trump's fault? Look, the empathy side, the way at times he's poo-pooed this thing as if it's kind of something that's just, it's not real. That stuff, no, that is asinine and stupid. It's a blame game that we don't need. It's a blame game we don't need on both sides. And both sides are playing the political side while the rest of us try to keep our head above water. While the rest of us go out there and do our jobs to the best of our ability in situations that you don't know from day to day. I have friends in California who own businesses, and they've been shuttering them. One of my buddies I talked to the other day, he's like, look, dude, I said I could withstand the first one, but I can't withstand the second one for me personally. And I said, why is that? He said, just because it's impossible. He goes, I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. Not based on any actions that I do, but based on what somebody else is going to say. Totally agree 110%. I get it. How can you turn to any of these people and think they got the answers? Because they don't have the answers. The answers are going to be whatever answers you can provide for yourself at this point in time. We need to depend less on government and more on ourselves. The people that we appoint to represent us and go there and do a job, we need to hold them more accountable than ever before. You want to hold Trump accountable because you think the job he's done is horrible? Totally fine with that. Do you think that the next crew is going to come in? It's going to be 1,000 times better? Yesterday, they said this yesterday, and this is where, I didn't find the Harris, I don't find the Trump pressers at all any good. They're all over the place. It's like, it's like watching a kid with ADD and 75 things in the room, all blinking and flashing and moving around. It's just, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, light, cat, kitty, squirrel, ooh. But this?
It didn't have to be this way. 6 years ago, in fact, we had a different health crisis. It was called Ebola. And we all remember that pandemic.
Wasn't a pandemic.
But you know what happened then? Barack Obama and Joe Biden did their job. Only 2 people in the United States died. 2. That is what's called leadership. But compare that to the moment we find ourselves in now.
By the way, there were 11 people that had Ebola virus in the U.S. We brought most of them in here. I think 5 of them came in at different times. And if you're going to go by those numbers, that's about a 20% death rate. It wasn't a pandemic. Ever. It's only ever been in a few countries, most of them starting in 1976, near the Ebola River. Guinea, Liberia, West Africa, Congo. You guys get where I'm going with this? Was never a pandemic. Ever. The fact that you even compared it is asinine and stupid. Producer Phil, let's go back in our Wayback Machine as we like to do. Did I not offer people my entire year's salary and the chance to do my show if they could catch the Ebola virus?
You absolutely did.
Nobody ever did. I would never do that with COVID. Can't compare the two. The Ebola virus. My God. Last night. This is what we have. Be prepared. 3 months of stupid sound bites, arguments over nothing. My advice to you, take it, don't take it. Lean more on yourself than government. You should always be that way. Never fall in love with a politician. Fall in like at best. Hold them accountable. And stay away from the parties. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Speaking of that, I got some Andrew Yang fun that we're going to have here in a little bit. It's good times. Good times, old Andrew and his crew. I will say this. In jest. Very good. Great conversations. A lot of fun. But we're going to talk about that. The Ebola virus. You guys, I swear. My goodness. Valor Gold. Gold has a chance of going through the roof. You see what it's doing? You see where it's going? Up, down, up, down? No, it's just going up. Stock market? Tons of volatility. The dollar weakening. You not quite sure what to do. Bank of America believes gold is going to go up in the next 18 months. About $3,000 level is where they think it's going to head. A lot of people say $3,500 in the next 2 years. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. Dollar continuing to fall. Valor Gold Group. Call them today. Let them take a look at what's going on, how they can put you in a position to protect yourself in the event that the market starts to really slow down and there's going to be even more volatility and craziness, and put yourself in a position to continue to build wealth. 800-202-6936. 800-202-6936. They've got a time-tested, proven strategy. It's going to help you protect in times of crashes, inflation, and volatility. They have 50 years of experience. Call Valor Gold Group today. 800-202-6936. Check them out online, valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. VALOR goldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
But there's a reason it has hit America worse than any other advanced nation. It's because of Trump's failure to take it seriously from the start.
Is that really the reason? I mean, is that the reason? Remember, was it January, February, Fauci said, I think it was on Newsmax, we got nothing to worry about. He said that. We'll monitor it, but we don't have anything to worry about. It's not going to really affect that. Nobody ever calls anybody else on the stuff that they say before. We check the people that we don't like. I talked about it. I think we all knew it was coming. Do we know it was going to be like this? And what is this at the end of the day? Honestly, it's ugly. It's nasty. It's destroyed the economy. It's put people on the dole, as they would say, the food lines. 6 months ago, 8 months ago, if I'd have told you that we are going to have a virus that sweeps the nation, that starts us at our throats in ways that we could not believe, that we're fighting over things like masks, using words like social distancing, and then unemployment would be through the roof at record levels, you'd be like, nuh-uh. Here we are. Could Trump have done better? Yeah. By the way, Everybody could have done better. Welcome to the world of Monday morning quarterbacking. Everybody could have done better. The states want their responsibility to be their responsibility. You hand it to them, then you blame Trump for not doing enough. I go back to, he handed out all these stupid, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This is how you do it. Here in Arizona, we jumped to phase 9. We didn't even get to the point where we're in the area where we were going to move forward. California came down hard. Everybody stay indoors. Nobody go outside. Everything's closed. Wear a mask here. Wear a mask there. Everywhere a mask, 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 mask. What happens? I think we're doing okay. Next thing you know, you get hit. Close down again. But you were doing everything correctly. Look, there'll be plenty of people to blame. But blaming in the middle of something, your plane's got turbulence. All of a sudden, your engine shut down. And everybody wants to blame everybody else for what's going on rather than try to figure it out. Why don't you land the plane safely first, and then we'll figure out who we can point fingers at? We've allowed politics to get in the middle of our pandemic, which only makes it worse. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. College football. It's really weird. This is a battle going on that is going to be very interesting watching college football. By the way, there isn't going to be any college football for the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Just let you guys know that. If you're fans of those, that's just never going to happen the way that they think it's going to happen. So, and it's weird, too, that you're going to allow kids back on campus to go to school, to do everything else, but you're not going to allow them to play football. It's like, okay. Oh, my goodness. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. More from the Harris-Biden excitement. I call it Harris-Biden rather than Biden-Harris. We'll talk about that. My interaction with the Yang Gang as well. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
President Trump Wednesday reiterating his call to reopen classrooms.
So sitting in isolation with a computer, looking at a laptop, is not the same as being out there in the real world.
The president also hopeful for a college football season. The Big 12 now planning to play despite other major conferences canceling or postponing the season.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen with college football. I think the SEC, ACC, and the Big 12 are probably going to play. They're planning on playing. I think the other schools, the Pac-12 and the Big 10. And look, the Big 10, the Pac-12, outside of Ohio State, probably have nobody that was going to contend for anything. The ACC, led by Clemson, the SEC, led by everybody who plays pretty much in the SEC. That was kind of, that's where it is. The Big 12, you've got, Texas and a few other, but that's where it's going, right? And they're like, well, we could play in the spring. You're not going to play in the spring. First of all, you're not going to do that for several reasons. If you're worried about players now, and player safety is the most important thing, really what you're worried about is liability. Right? You're worried about liability. What if we get sued because the player gets sick? What if you get sued now because the player gets sick and they get sick at home? Or they're on campus, but they don't play and they still get sick? Oh. How do you, that stuff is silly. Like, how could you even prove it where somebody got sick? I mean, that's the other side of this. But you're also not going to play next year because in the spring, because you're not going to do that to the kids, right? If we're really concerned about their safety and their bodies and whatnot, you're not going to tell them, all right, we're going to start here we're going to play X amount of games, let's just say 8, an abbreviated schedule. When you're done with that, you'll have a little bit of time to rest and recover, and then we're going to be right back at it even harder and play how many games? Maybe potentially 20 games or 22 games in a calendar year? Yeah, that isn't happening. That isn't going to happen. So they made their decision, and look, that's great. Fantastic. But it's frustrating for a lot of people because I've, being here in Arizona with ASU, I've talked to a lot of the faculty and people around there, and you're inviting people back on campus. In some situations, they're going to allow you to stay home. So you can't play football because kids can get infected. Okay. But you're going to have classes in some cases. Big Ten's going to have classes in a lot of areas. People are going to come. The libraries are open. The cafeterias are going to be open. I don't know. It's crazy. At this point, I don't think anybody knows. I think everybody's just running with it and trying to figure out what's the best thing that they can do. Because I don't think, look, and I'm not criticizing them for, I just look at this and I say to myself, at the end of the day, there really is no wrong answer. We'll look back and go, we should have done that. We know better now. We should have done this. The blame game is stupid. Blaming people for things is ridiculous. You should have done this. You should have done that. You should have done this. You should have done that. Afterwards is easy. We just need the people that we've empowered to go be the voice for us, to get their heads out of their ass and realize, hey, you're not going to make everybody happy, but if you could at least put in some time and effort behind closed doors rather than in front of the camera, get some stuff done, try to spend as little of our money as possible on stuff that doesn't matter, that'd be solid. That'd be super. Fantastic. Mitch, can you make that happen? Nancy, right? Can you make that happen? Chucky, Kevin McCarthy, can you guys just go do your thing? The rest of us are going to try to figure out how we start to piece this thing back together. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. So yesterday, relaxing, enjoying myself, I saw this tweet from Andrew Yang talking about how we need to start giving people a basic income because it's about dignity in life. And I talked about this a couple months ago. Went out to lunch with a guy by the name of Michael Crow. He is the president of Arizona State University. And we had a chat about this because he says, I was talking to and this guy's he's a muckety muck. He's in and amongst the bigwigs. He's a think tank kind of guy. He's turned Arizona State into a powerhouse. He did the same thing at Columbia. And it was very interesting. He says, when you give people money, you take away the one thing. I was talking to the guys from Google about this. And I said, because they were talking about, they're behind Andrew Yang and they want to make sure that everybody has a basic income and all these things. And they says, we had a sit down, like a fireside chat one night, like a TED talk just for brain people, as I call it. And he said, you rob people of dignity. And eventually, they start to get frustrated. And eventually, that isn't enough of what you're doing. And eventually, they come to you more and more often. And eventually, you run out. We've talked about it before. We're not fixing anything with basic income. So I tweeted at them about, what happens when $1,000 isn't enough. And some of them started tweeting back at me, and they were very cordial, right? Good to see Andrew, who's going to be on the on the DNC ticket, as far as the speaking at the DNC convention. It's good for that, but I was just I was like, what happens when it's not enough? What happens when it's, I mean, my goodness me. Think about this for a second. Where people are unemployed, so they're getting their state. Trump wants to drop it down to $200 a week, and some of the Republicans do. Nancy wants $600 a week. You're talking about, Kamala wants $2,000 a person. Like, when is it, we've gone from $1,000 to ridiculous. It's crazy. It is. We never address any of the issues because that's what we do in politics. It's easier to blame than address issues. It's easier to blame and to say, if we only did this, if we only gave more money here, it would be better. We're not talking about going into, like, the defunding of the police. Because when we do that, we're going to reallocate those funds into areas that are downtrodden and depressed. And then what is that going to do? What is that really going to do? If you're not taking knowledge and opportunities with you, it's just taking this money and putting it over here and then pissing it over the way over there. $1,000 a month. What's that going to do? It's not going to be enough. But it was interesting engaging. First of all, like I said, great. Nobody yelled, nobody fought, nobody said horrible things. It wasn't, normally you get into any kind of engagement. And I do. I like to engage people. I like to engage people. So as I'm chatting with some of these people, other people are chiming in as well that about this. And then you start to get capitalism's evil. That's where it first goes. And so we'll explain to me why it's evil. People, like, capitalism is a vehicle. It's a system and a tool. How it's used by individuals can make it bad. Just like government. How governments are run and who runs them can make it bad. Otherwise, it's just a thing that sits there. It's no more than that. Nothing in the history of anything has ever taken more people from poverty to prosperity. It's not capitalism. And then it got to, well, there is no opportunities here. So why is there no opportunities here? High crime area. Well, that's because there's no opportunities. We can talk about that. Fatherless homes. Well, that's real. Right? That's real. And you start breaking down these things, all things that nobody wants to talk about, because when you start throwing facts like that out there, that makes people uncomfortable. As if saying some of those things is somehow wrong. And then the other side of it is, where's the personal responsibility? You're a 26-year-old who's got 3 kids. There's no guy around, right? Or the lady left. Your mother's helping you. You dropped out of school. You don't really know what you want to do. You have no drive. You want stuff, but no plan to get stuff. And then somehow you are somebody we need to help. Your poor choices are not my responsibility. Just like my poor choices are not your responsibility. There is a difference between saying, oh, we should give some people some opportunities and some help, and then turning them into capitalism is bad. This is the poster child of why it's bad. It's because somebody was a success that this person over here is a failure. That is wrong. We never ask the question, why is it that you're 37 and you work at a fast food restaurant? Which was never meant to be a career unless your whole thing was, I'm going to work my way up to management and eventually buy my own place. Why is that? I'm just curious. We need to have more personal responsibility. We need to ask real questions. And we need to have real answers, and some of them are going to hurt. But it was funny just the way that people came out and their first response is capitalism's evil. It's not evil. It's no more evil than government. People inside of those can do bad things, but it's neutral. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Hello Fresh. So last night, got home, had a little tacos thanks to my Hello Fresh. Every week they're delivered to me, these meals. 22 chef-curated recipes. So they put them all together, and you have your choice. Next week, I'm going to do low-calorie. So that's going to be interesting. I've done the family-friendly, and they've got vegetarian. You name it, they've got it. And so I'm going to try the low-calorie next week. See how that goes. Because if I can do that, first of all, if I can cook any of this stuff, anybody can. It takes about 20 minutes. I got home within 20 minutes, food in my belly. It was delicious. That can be you. HelloFresh has what you need. You're going to save money, too, about 40% versus shopping at the grocery store. And I'll tell you what, you can add meals, you can put it on pause, maybe you're traveling, you can change your delivery days. They want to be flexible. That's what HelloFresh does. Check it out for yourself. Save some money. You're going to love it. So easy. America's #1 meal kit. Right here. No more crazy meal planning. None of that stuff. It's simple. It's easy. If I can do it, anyone can. Go to HelloFresh.com. When you do, use promo code Benson. $80 off your first box and free shipping. HelloFresh.com. HelloFresh.com. Use the promo code Benson to save $80 off and free shipping on your first box. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It didn't have to be this way. 6 years ago, in fact, we had a different health crisis. It was called Ebola. And we all remember that pandemic.
Not a pandemic.
Then? Barack Obama and Joe Biden did their job. Only 2 people in the United States died. 2. That is what's called leadership. But compare that to the moment we find ourselves in now.
It's so funny. So let's talk about Ebola, because people are attacking me because I laughed. 11 people were treated for Ebola in the United States between 2014 and 2016. The first travel-associated case was a man who came from West Africa to Dallas. He ended up dying. A couple people who treated him got sick. That's it. Total cases. Cases evacuated to the U.S., 7. Total cases in the U.S., 4. Number of deaths, 1. Active cases, 0. You did nothing. Nothing. Sorry. It was insane. To even pretend that they're the same thing is asinine. But welcome to the world that we live in. And the only reason it didn't get as bad as this, no, it first of all doesn't spread that easy. It doesn't. So unless you're going to get blood, saliva, other things like that on you, you're going to be fine. It's not airborne. If it was airborne, we'd be having a different discussion. I think we all know that. We've all seen the movie Outbreak. But we're not there. One of the reasons I say it doesn't spread as much. Think about this, right? Ebola, even now, they've got 74 cases, I think, in the Congo right now. It doesn't spread because people get really sick and they end up dying. It doesn't spread that fast. Because people don't travel. People don't go anywhere. The thought process of even comparing the two is ridiculous. At no time ever did I worry about my grandmother catching the Ebola virus. Did I worry about my son catching the Ebola virus? I said to any of my listeners, if you can go out right now and catch the Ebola virus, I'll give you my pay. You can have it. It's crickets. Not the same thing. It's not. That's what's so funny. The way that they do this. And the doctors are like, you don't even understand. You didn't stop squat. It's going on now. I don't hear about our Ebola response now. Does anybody hear about our Ebola response? Anyone? Is anybody out there hearing about this? Is the response out there? Anyone? Hello? No. Come on. Get your heads out your butts. It's just insane. It's not a pandemic. Welcome to the pissing contest of politics. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Last week marked the first time since the start of the pandemic in March that new claims for unemployment benefits fell below 1 million, but not by much. 963,000 people still filed for jobless benefits for the first time, a sign the virus is debilitating the economy. The newly laid off no longer have the added $600 a week in extra federal aid. Negotiations in Congress to extend the benefit at a lower level have gone nowhere.
Nowhere! It's not because it can't get did. It's because it's politics. When you have politics out there, it's another hurdle, and it's the biggest hurdle. That's what politics becomes, the biggest hurdle. So we've got the problem. This is it. We've got the solution. Here's the solution. Okay, great. Let's get to it. We have one more ingredient to add to this. Politics. Oh. And then you put the politics in it, and then it goes to crap. But why can't we take the politics out? Well, we can't, because that's the most important ingredient to the people that have to make sure that the solution gets handled. Yeah, but we don't really need that. Like, you could just put aside your politics and just say, hey, let's just do this. We come to some sort of agreement. You can add politics to the next one. No. Politics is most important in this one. It's what it is. It's exactly what it is. And it's a blame game. It's a blame game that, quite frankly, is boring most of us. We got other things going on. People are trying to live. People are trying to figure things out. I don't need sound bites, which is what you bring me. My old boss used to say in England, it was Jeremy. It was very funny. He'd say, Chad, don't bring me problems. Bring me solutions. We work it the other way in this country. He would say now, don't bring me solutions. Bring me a problem. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
There really hasn't been any contact between congressional Democrats and the White House. Why is that?
Because we have a vast difference in our values. Children are affected by these negotiations. When commentators say to me, why can't you resolve your differences? Because we're miles apart.
Yeah. You're miles apart. Why? Let me ask you this. Why are you miles apart? You want hundreds of billions of dollars for states. Why can't we make that a separate bill? You want hundreds of millions and billions of dollars for states. Let's make that a separate bill, and you guys can take that up and figure out how you spend more of our money Why do you need hundreds of billions of dollars at this moment in time? Make your argument. States are struggling. They can't print their own money. They're broke because they've got no tax revenue. Because as much as Trump has failed on the federal level, states have failed at their level as well. So there you go. Okay, make that argument later on. The argument today is people are unemployed. People are struggling. Their businesses are going to hell in a handbasket. Most of them are not worried about the coronavirus anymore on the health side of it, because I think we're all kind of over the looking at the tote board and going, you're not going to die from this. So unless you're really, really sick or you're really, really old. Meaning you got underlying conditions or you're elderly. And even the elderly survive this more than they die. So now that the panic porn is out of the way, we still have businesses that are closed and shuttered. We still have people that are out of work. It's a simple thing. How about this? Liability? We're going to waive people so they're not liable for things. They get a little bit of something. You get your $600 a week, Nancy. We'll make it retroactive back to when this thing ended up going dark, the 31st, so August 1st. We'll move forward till January. We're not going to go out any further because we don't need to. Right? We don't need to go out any further. We can address that towards the end of the year. So let's do that. And then when you want to talk about more funding for states, you want to talk about your $1.7 billion FBI building that'll end up costing $3 billion in New York, Trump and everybody. You want to talk about your F-35 fighters that are awesome and they're going to cost X amount of billions of dollars. We'll talk about that later. Let's deal with the here and now. You're talking about what you're going to have for lunch 2 weeks from today. Your ship is sinking right now. We'll talk about that later. Frustrating as it can be. That is the world of politics. Yesterday, Kamala, depends on how you want to say it. That's the funny part of it.
Just tell Kamala Harris what to say, and she will say it. That is the whole point of Kamala Harris.
Tucker, can I just say one quick thing? Her name is pronounced comma, like the punctuation mark, look, Kamala, okay? Seriously, I've heard every sort of bastardization.
So what?
That's how it is, Kamala.
Okay.
Well,
but
I think it's out of respect for somebody who's going to be on the national ticket. Pronouncing her name right is actually not, it's kind of a
So I'm
minimum.
disrespecting her by mispronouncing her name unintentionally. So it begins. You're not allowed to criticize Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris or whatever because Kamala Harris.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to criticize. You're not allowed to bring things up. It's bizarre, this whole world. It's just weird. It is Kamala. Her mother was named Shamala. And she likes being Mamala. Somebody's like, you can pick her apart. I pick everybody apart. I criticize Trump all the time. Criticize Pence. I think Pence is going to get eaten alive by her. I do. I absolutely do. Trump disagrees.
I think she's going to be a big failure. She got her facts wrong. You know, she's very bad on facts. She's very weak on facts. She's very short on facts. I look forward to the debate between her and Mike Pence because I think he'll do even better against her than he did against Senator Kaine, which was a total wipeout.
Did they debate? Does anybody pay attention to those? We will now because she looks like she's going to have a much larger role in the political world that we would normally see a vice president take. But outside of that, you know, I mean, it's silly. It's silly. It really is. She's worse. She's horrible. She's nasty. She's really not. And if there wasn't an R or D by her name, and you looked at her record as a prosecutor and as an AG, you'd be like, oh, she's got to be conservative. Look how hard she went after drug convictions. Look how hard she went after so many things. You would think that outside of sanctuary city stuff, she's much different than people think on the prosecutorial side. Now, in saying that, her politics, they're left of Joe, but it's not like, it's so, I just laugh at the way that people act. It's just crazy. But Kamala will have a bigger role because at the end of the day, she was picked to be potentially the next president of the United States as much as anything else. So we'll see how she does. Yesterday, I thought there wasn't a lot there. Joe came out, said some stuff. She came out, said some stuff. Trump did his thing. Nobody really, at this point, it's like, let's just get to debates and we'll just go from there. It's still Trump versus Trump at the end of the day. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. We still have two parties that are the same side of a coin in many ways. And people are dealing with the day-to-day life of having their kids home from school, having to teach them, having to make decisions about whether or not they're going to quit their job so they can. My friend texted me yesterday, and she says, I'm going to have to quit my job. And she goes, because there's going to be no school. So I'm going to have to quit my job, take care of the kids. And I'm like, yikes. Because there's nothing else I can do. And it's frustrating. That's real. That's real life. People are frustrated and they're angry. I don't need finger pointers. We need progress and solutions. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. So check this out. Raycons, best earbuds around. What? They are. Huge earbuds. Love them. And earbuds, to me, like, watch all the Zoom things that go on. Watch all of these things. And they've got those white earbuds in, the ones with the stems. They stick out. They're super expensive. And you're just like, oh, my God. I've had those. And I've had just about everything. And Raycon blow them all out of the water. And the price level of what you're paying for those compared to these is well under half the price. So normally you're spending $200, $250 with Raycons. You're going to spend well over about $100 minus what I'm going to throw you with the savings. So well under $100 for better earbuds, quality sound that you can't get anywhere else, a better build, more stylish, no stems, no wires, 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing. You get where I'm going. The best around. Check it out for yourself. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save 15% on top of all of the other savings you already have for the E25s. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Lot of stuff trending. Champions League today. It's going to be interesting. Yesterday was Champions League as well. So today I think you have Bayern München, the German team taking on Barcelona and Messi. QAnon. Trending because people are trying to figure out who's this lady that Trump congratulated, this QAnon conspiracy theory. Antifa. Trending. Because somebody says Joe Biden owns Antifa.com. That is awesome. That right there is awesome. People are asking, what the hell is QAnon? It's It's a conspiracy theory place, I think, is where they always... I've never been there. It's like 4chan, 6chan, 8chan. I don't do any of those. Bill Gates on vaccines. 5G conspiracy theories and hydroxychloroquine is trending. This is all his fault, right, from what I read on QAnon. He wants to put 5G everywhere so it controls your brain, gives you this, so you have to come to him to get a vaccine. Oh, cool. Cool. Judge Jeannie walking back the predictions of Joe not even making it to Election Day. Space Force is trending. I like it. By the way, Space Force, for everybody who makes fun of Space Force, and we make fun of it readily here because we want to be a part of it. Mostly we make fun of it because we're jealous. But Space Force, I should point this out, is actually very important. If you know that China is building satellites and building a defense system in the event of warfare, especially cyber warfare, to take down satellites and to kill communications of us and our allies, you would understand that there is a real need for something. China plays to win. We play not to offend. Every once in a while, I think we need to recognize that. And the 14th Amendment is trending. Yeah, because why? People are asking the question, is she eligible to be president or vice president? Kamala? Because there's some questions about her eligibility. So we're going there about, I think is it where she was born? Is that the questions they're asking? Her father is and was Jamaican national. So that's something, right? And her mother was from India. Neither was a U.S. citizen at the time of her birth in 1964, according to many people, which makes her not a natural-born citizen and therefore ineligible, according to some, to hold said office. She was born here. She's eligible. Let's move on. Okay. Shouldn't it be that simple, right? Enough of this. She was born here. She's eligible. She was born here. But that's being... People are asking the question. Is she eligible? I'm going to go with a hard yes. This is what's happening. QAnon's probably all over this, I would assume. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet us. You can text the program. Love hearing from everybody. I try to talk to everybody as much as I can. I mean, I get a lot of these throughout the day, and I do try to engage as much as I possibly can. And I've got 2 shows, and I do a bunch of other stuff, so there's only so much I can do. But I always ask, just be cordial. That's it. All you got to do in life, just be cordial. Half of life is showing up and being cordial. There you go. It's like, right? Like, and there's going to be a time that you don't have to be cordial. It's like the great line in that great movie, Roadhouse, which taught everybody life lessons. And what was that? Be nice. When do you stop being nice? You'll know when it's time to stop being nice. Then don't be nice. There you go. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We don't have to accept the failed government of Donald Trump and Mike Pence. In just 83 days, we have a chance to choose a better future. for our country.
All right. Kamala. We'll screw it up. Mrs. Harris, how's that? Is everybody happy? Is everybody happy? Nobody's mad? Goodness me. Failed. According to who? They keep saying characters on the ballot. Why isn't competence on the ballot? Can we ask that? And that's from both sides, by the way. Here's a question. You're on an airplane, right? We'll use an analogy. Guy flying the plane, or gal. Sweet. Amazing. Great. Salt of the earth. Salt of the earth. Just wonderful. A little wishy-washy. A little forgetful. But just great people. Problem. A little bit of shaking. One of the engines on fire. Flames out. Uh-oh. What are we going to do? Panic. But the character's fantastic. Pilot number 2. A little bit of a womanizer. Blue humor. I'm just all in all a Richard. Just not funny at times, but also can be mean. Not the great character. Same problem. Engine on fire. Uh-oh. Issues. Still a Richard. But it gets the job done. I mean, you would love to have that. I was here. It was character. No, it's just I want competence, right? That's what I want. Let the character side of things, let that be, like, well, if we have character, that shows a lot, and that leads what? Was the country any worse? And did our character fall apart when you had womanizers in the White House? When you had all kinds of what people deem as evil and bad in the White House? Was your character any worse? No, that's on you. It's not on me. Well, the kids. You teach your kids. I'll teach my kids. Look, Trump has done a lot of stuff that I absolutely don't agree with. As every president has. Some stuff I'm like, I like that. Other stuff I'm like, not so much. But I keep hearing character. Really what it is Trump's a big a-hole. He's a bully. He loves to fight. He says stuff that is ridiculous. But he's also done some stuff. We were talking about it yesterday. Perfect example. How many wars has he gotten us into? Because he was going to get us in a ton, remember? He's trying to pull people out of the Middle East. And all of a sudden you got Democrats going, we'll slow our roll here. No, let's pull them out. He's holding some of our allies' feet to the fire. Like him or not, and the Putin game you can play all day, but when you look at the way that he's taking on China, and he's a consummate salesman. That's all he does is sell. You're good, you're bad, you're indifferent. He doesn't care. He's going to blow smoke up your ass and treat you like the greatest person in the world because he's trying to sell you something. At the end of the day, though, I like the fact that he says stuff about China. It has nothing to do with the Chinese people. It has all to do with what their world would be like. I had people defending China yesterday. Defending China. Saying, well, would our world be any worse? Maybe it'd be better if we had their form of government and the way that they're doing things. I'm like, are you kidding me? They got 1 million plus Uyghurs locked up? What has Trump done? I heard, according to John Bolton, that Trump said it was good that they're building those camps. First of all, I don't trust John Bolton at all. Secondly, for those of you out there who are saying, I trust John Bolton, he's the guy that would love to get you in more wars. Obama got us into more stuff. Places we weren't even thinking about going. They weren't even part of the axis of evil. So, yeah, look, I like character. It'd be great. But for me, the big thing is competency. Can you do the job at hand? Do I think that Biden and Harris would run this country into the ground? No. Well, it's going to make everything like Seattle. No, it's not. Dallas is never going to be Seattle. It's never going to happen. Seattle. Portland is Portland. If you want that to happen, you're going to allow that to happen. I think even in some of the most liberal cities outside of there, they're looking at, they're going, all right, we're not going to let that happen here. Another night of unrest in Portland. Releasing people who are burning stuff down and breaking windows because now it's free speech. It's insane. That's on them. That's the politics they deserve. But how about character? If you want to put that on the ballot, and that's the only thing that matters. I'm going to put competency first because I don't look for my leaders to have this super uber character because quite frankly, I think if you're in politics, you got a bit of a character flaw anyways. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Yeah, we joke about the post office and, and there's a perfect example of where I get pissed at Trump. And I talk about the crap that he's totally lying about, that there's no proof whatsoever about mail-in fraud, and you saying, well, my grandfather got a mail-in ballot and I don't live there anymore, and it's not fraud. First of all, did your grandfather mail in your ballot? Well, no, he threw it, he sent it back. Well, there you go then. A mistake. Don't confuse incompetence and mistakes for nefariousness. But then you've got the UPS, and this right here is the processing center. So we hammered the Postal Service. How about what's going on with the old UPS up there in Modesto?
It all started for Pamela Davis with a piece of exercise equipment.
Live from the gym. I've got a Bowflex.
Our gym was closed, so we went on Amazon.
Even though it was back-ordered, by July 24th, online tracking said Davis's Bowflex was out for delivery to her Modesto home.
So we were excited. We cleaned out the room that it was going in, and we were waiting with bated breath, and it didn't show up.
After 6 days with no delivery, she came here to the Ceres UPS Processing Center.
So, 6 days, no delivery, no gym. Poor Pamela, you can already tell it's getting to her. She can't get her yoke on, right? She's not getting swole. What's going on?
They asked for the tracking number, and he looked it up, and he said, oh, it's in the pile. You need to go look in the pile.
The pile is a pile of packages sitting in the customer parking lot. What we found was hundreds of packages strewn across the lot.
The gentleman out by the pile told us that this pile was everything that hadn't been delivered. This pile was huge. I'm 5 foot tall, and it was taller than me, and it's probably 100 by 100 feet wide.
So they're just piling stuff up. That's what they're doing. So just piling it up. What's going on? What can Brown do for you? We can make a pile.
Packages had been sitting here so long they were sun-bleached, the labels nearly illegible. Another customer told us they've been waiting for this package, a mattress, since the 30th.
It's bad enough that we're waiting for something, but there's hundreds of people still waiting for stuff, and there's no rhyme or reason.
When checking for Davis's Bowflex, an employee inside the facility told us UPS currently has more shipments now than during the holiday rush.
Because nobody's going anywhere. So they got to be at home, so they're ordering stuff, which is so easy to do, right? I mean, we're all doing it. We are. We're all, and you know what? We're impatient, too, on top of that. Because I'll be looking for something, I'm like, oh, man, that's what I really want. Then you go, it's not going to be here till, August 27th? Well, I want it tomorrow. So I'll find something that's just like it. But you don't have to worry about that. It may arrive tomorrow. You're just going to have to go to the mountain of stuff that Brown's doing for you.
He also claimed there were 15 people out with COVID-19 exposure and others on vacation. UPS Corporate sent a statement saying they are treating every package delivered as if it's our only one.
We were exposed on Sunday to somebody who possibly has COVID. So now we are locked in our rooms with nowhere to go. We can't even go for a walk, and we don't have a Bowflex.
And you could tell she's like, I'm so going to get my swole on. What can Brown do for you? Could give you COVID? We treat every package like it's our own crappy package that we don't care about. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. Do. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTube. MyPillow. Sleep well. Here's something that MyPillow's doing. So they're doing a BOGOs. You buy one, you get one free. For the last several months, they were offline. They weren't making stuff because they were making things, the PPEs for the hospitals and everybody. They've come back online. They've got product, and they're doing a buy one, get one free. They understand times are tough, but you know what? You want to sleep a little better? They've got the opportunity for you. They got great pillows. I love my go anywhere pillow. So I travel a lot. I absolutely love it. My Giza sheets are amazing. Towels are incredible. And they've got buy one, get one free on everything. Everything. So you go to the radio listener special page at mypillow.com. Use code Benson. When you do that, you get the buy one, get one free. But on the way out, if you order Mike Lindell's book, he's going to ship everything for free and give you a $25 gift card to your next visit at MyPillow. It's awesome. Buy one, get one free and everything. Go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. mypillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here. Just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
I miss movies.
August 20th, that's the date AMC Theaters plans to fling open its doors to movie-hungry fans.
Having a kind of a hard time lately.
The Russell Crowe rage thriller Unhinged will be the first movie shown starting August 21st, followed a week later by the X-Men film The New Mutants, then Christopher Nolan's Tenet. But it'll be a phased opening, 100 theaters on August 20th, then about two-thirds of AMC's 1,000 U.S. locations by September 3rd. AMC will announce Thursday morning which theaters will open first. AMC's been closed in the U.S. since March. The company points out about half its theaters in Europe and the Middle East are currently open without incident.
Yeah, it's of all the things that I miss, and sports is back pretty much. I've only watched golf, really. I mean, I hockey, I've not watched any of it. Basketball, not really. Baseball, none. I watched golf and I watched soccer. So, but I've missed movies. That's, to me, because I used to go see 2, 3, 4 movies a month sometimes. It's kind of my way to recharge, take it just, hey, I'm going to go watch a movie. And I had kind of a routine because I live so far out of town, once a week, just to save I tell everybody, it's not the drive home at night. It's the drive sometimes in the morning when you're up at 2:30 and you're in the car by, 2:45 or 3, depending, because sometimes I even wake up earlier, just cancel. And that long drive, I like to just one night a week because it gives me a little respite, especially on a Thursday night. New movies are coming out. I like to go see the movie. I go in there, get my popcorn, get all my stuff, and chill. That's the thing I think I've missed the most. People keep going when you go see a movie. I have no problem going to see a movie. I don't know if I could sit there for 2.5 hours in a mask. I'm being honest. I don't know if I could, especially if I've got popcorn, something to drink, hot dog. I mean, I do so much of the same thing. I just don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have that in me to sit there for 2.5 hours in a mask to watch a movie. I say I can't do it. I'm not going to fly on an airplane because it's just, I don't want to wear a mask, and I respect everybody else around there, and I'm not going to cause a scene. And the other thing is what's going to be shown. There's a couple movies that are coming out. A couple. Unhinged looks cool. But that's a tough one. That is a tough one. How are they going to do it? Are they going to do, like, our church is reopening this weekend or 2 weeks from now. But I've already said I'm not going. It's just, I said, look, I respect the people around here and I can watch it online. I've been doing that anyways. And I work in the kids section. I know it's weird, right? And I just said because we're in a situation, especially here, where I make sure that I do as little as coming in contact with a lot of people, which I normally do anyways, because I respect everybody else around here. And I wouldn't want to get anybody else sick. So, but they're going to have 6 feet apart. I think that's smart. What are the movie theaters going to do? Is it going to be 25% capacity? Is it going to be, I don't know. I just do miss movies, though, man. Oh, God, I miss movies. College football, I missed that. I was kind of excited that it was going to come back. And it might not. What's it look like? Alabama and like Auburn playing in an empty stadium. I don't even know what that looks like. Then you've got the other side of the coin, which is the Pac-12 and Big Ten staying now. We're not going to play.
Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren told me this week that he doesn't know what it's going to look like. He echoed the thoughts of Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott, which says that there's a lot of work to do. Everyone has to remember that the commissioner's focus to this point has been getting their student athletes back on campus in a safe environment to be able to get on the field to the point where they were on Friday. No one was thinking about the spring until a skinny minute ago. So they have to get together a 12-month plan that protects the student athletes in terms of going right into the next season.
Yeah. And if you're returning kids back to campus, like some Big Ten schools are and some Pac-12 schools are, that's weird. So they can't play football, but kids can be on campus, and this is all about liability and lawsuits more than it is whether or not these kids are going to get something and really get sick. Let's be real. Being around your team, being in somewhat of a bubbled environment with medical team with you all the time, you being tested almost on a daily basis, it's probably better than not. But oh well. Goodbye, Pac-12. Goodbye, Big Ten. Maybe we'll see you next year. Now we'll see if the other three are going to play football. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Last week marked the first time since the start of the pandemic in March that new claims for unemployment benefits fell below 1 million, but not by much. 963,000 people still filed for jobless benefits for the first time, a sign the virus is debilitating the economy. The newly laid off no longer have the added $600 a week in extra federal aid. Negotiations in Congress to extend the benefit at a lower level have gone nowhere.
Yeah. A lot of people out there unemployed, sitting around going, man, I'm so stoked we've got government on our side. It's because of government. It's amazing. It's like, I don't even say anymore. What I love is government made a mess of COVID. You guys are awful. You did this. Who should we turn to? Government. Save us. Solid choice. It's a good choice right there. Real things are happening. People are unemployed. people are unemployed because something came here from China, but it came from Europe. But it didn't come from Europe. Okay, so let's back that up too. Let's start from, it did really come from China. It originated there. Can we say that? Is that possible? Like, if we flew somebody in with the Ebola virus from France, it doesn't mean the Ebola virus came from France. Somebody had the Ebola virus, we flew them over, or they flew here. It doesn't work that way. So let's get that out of the way. So there's that. So it came here. It got bigger, faster, and nastier. We fought amongst ourselves. Can I wear a mask? Don't wear a mask. Or take away your freedoms. We're fighting over stupid stuff. It's spreading. It's an invisible thing. It's the worst thing ever. It's worse than the Ebola virus. It's all you see on TV. It's just the biggest killer in the history of killers. 10 times worse than the Spanish flu and the Ebola virus combined. It's the Ebola flu. It's something you've never even dreamed of. CNN's like, oh my God, we got a tote board. It's a pandemic now. Everybody close. You're out of a job. Feds come in and say, we're going to give you $600 a week. You'll get your state's unemployment. This should hold you over. We're also going to send you a stimulus check. You're like, all right, cool. Get some of that, thinking you're going to go back to work. States are like, we're going to open up. They did. They did a horrible job, or did they? I don't know. Because states that did a job that everybody thought that you guys should look at California. They're doing great. And you look over at California, it's like they were wearing masks and staying inside and doing social distancing, and they're still a mess. Now they're fighting amongst themselves. Fighting amongst themselves. Will they get anything done? That I don't know, Larry Kudlow.
We're committed to putting in 300 if they have already put in 100, right? Now, they may choose to put in another 100. That's our point.
Talking about how much. So Trump's executive order is we're going to give you $300. The states should not only pay you your unemployment, which you're due, but also toss in an extra $100 to bring it up to $400 and whatever your state gives you. So here in Arizona, you'd get $640 if they did that. Here's the problem. States don't have any money. They're broke. They're broke. A lot of states were broke before this, and now they're really broke. So it's not a lot you can be able to do at this point in time. So you can wish all day, right? What's the old saying? Blankety in one hand and wish in the other, see which one fills up first. It's kind of what's going on. Now, the Democrats want to solve this by giving almost $1 trillion to states to help them. I think we could figure that out a little bit later down the road. I think we need a clean bill. We don't need to fight over this stuff. It shouldn't be a battle. It should be, let's find a temporary solution to what is going to be a temporary problem.
It's a stalemate. And as Secretary Mnuchin said yesterday, Speaker wants a $2 trillion.
Speaker wants $2 trillion. $2 trillion. I want you guys to listen to this again. All right? $2 trillion. What did I say? Maybe $1 trillion? Maybe several hundred million, billion, gazillion. She wants trillion with a T. We don't need that for this moment. It can be a clean bill. We also don't need pork from the Republicans. We don't need that.
Speaker wants a $2 trillion commitment from us. We're not going to give it. There are too many things, too many asks on their side that don't fit. They don't even have anything to do with COVID, for that matter.
Yeah. Let's address it, this as a singular thing. We can't, though. We don't know how. We don't know how. So if you're blaming government for this going to hell in a handbasket and then looking for government to solve the issue, you might want to rethink that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Then you've got kids in school. The kids in school. What to do with kids in school?
Houston reporting nearly 1,000 virus deaths as Texas schools prepare to start the school year.
The countdown to the first day of school in person is like a ticking time bomb.
unless we do this right.
County officials say children should not be in class, but the governor says that decision is up to local districts. But in Georgia, nearly 1,200 students and staff quarantined after dozens tested positive in Cherokee County, now forcing the closure of 2 high schools.
Yeah, and what to do with the kids? People out there right now are making serious decisions about, are they going to quit their job? They're going to lose their job. How far behind are the kids going to get? You know, this entire time we talk about kids, and let's be real, it's not kids. The chances of kids getting seriously ill and dying from this are very, very, very low. We don't close everything down school-wise for the flu, and if it's the kids that we're worried about, we should do that. Because flu is far more deadly to children than this. This is about administrators, and this is about adults. Okay. So what do we do? What if you don't have any other way? You built your life around your kid goes to school. Kids of this age, your kid goes to school. Your kid's only 10. Your kid's not 15 and can stay home by themselves and do this. Your kid doesn't have access to the internet or the things they're going to need to do. What then? It's tough. There's no, and like everything else in this, there is no right or wrong answers. There's just, this is the answer for us. I've said that we have this talk all day on my local show here because I'm sorry. Teachers, you don't want to go to school because you're worried. And parents want, because I think if you ask most parents, they're like, I think kids are ready to go back. I think kids are ready. Well, we're not going to go back because we're worried. Okay, I get that. But I think the kids are ready to go. I think the kids need to go back. Even Fauci's like, we do everything we can. Now, we can do all we possibly can, especially with, middle school and high school, to do the best we can as far as some social distancing. And they're a little bit easier to say, hey, do this, do that, and they're going to pay attention. My son's 10. You think he's going to wear a mask all day. Well, he's really not at any risk whatsoever. People ask, would you send your kid to school? Oh, absolutely. It's 0. I would absolutely send my child to school. Do you worry about the teachers? Well, I think we can do some stuff. But do you worry about the person at the grocery store? Do you worry about the person at Walmart? Do you worry about the person at X, Y, and Z? Probably not. Here's the thing. If you want to retire early or you think that this is too much for you, then you could go get another job. It's always a possibility, right? Isn't it? I mean, is that a horrible thing to say? To some people it is. I mean, he's forcing you to be a teacher. It's like, this is the only thing I'm allowed to do. No, you can get another gig. Right? You can go get a gig at Amazon, or you can get a gig here, or you can go there, because there are still jobs out there. And when I hear this, people say, well, yeah, but people don't come in contact. They're going to be dealing with children. I said, what do you think goes on at Costco all day? You think there's nobody there? Are those people just expendable? You guys are expendable because you're not teachers. And I've talked to a lot of teachers, by the way, who are like, I want to go back and teach. I'm willing to take that risk. There's no right answer here. There's no wrong answer. At the end of the day, the way that this is going to go down for most people is you're going to get an email from your school that says, we're going to start having in-class schooling again. That's the way that's going to go. And then you'll make that decision. So just because the schools open up today, you don't have to send your kids back. Oh, yeah, I don't have to. But I love hearing that, like, well, we could be at risk. Isn't everybody in some way, shape, or form because of this kind of at risk? Are you're no better or worse than me or people at Walmart who go there every day? Somehow they're essential? And you're not? Jerk. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I'll get this. Well, we don't have to have your kid can stay home and learn. Yeah, absolutely. I'm blessed. Jack can. Absolutely. He do a lot of things. I'm blessed. You saying, well, we teach your children. That's the job you chose. Nobody told you had to be a teacher. Nobody did. Thank you for doing it. It's great. Right? I mean, that's great. You teach kids, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I think being a doctor is a wonderful thing. Being a cop's a wonderful thing. There's a lot of things that are wonderful. It's just so bizarre. It is. It is so bizarre. And you can't say it, but I said it, so there you go. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program as well. Car Shield saving you money, and you're like, how are they saving me money? I'll tell you why, because what you don't know is what happens if your car goes a little, air conditioning goes out and it's really hot. You're like, oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. What happens if your transmission goes out? Oh, Chad, no. That's where Car Shield comes in. With Car Shield, you get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop, and the shop is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. How this works, all right? I'm going to throw this, how this works. Call them up. You tell them exactly what you're looking for. What are you worried about when it comes to your car? Maybe it's everything. Maybe you're only worried about the electronics. Maybe you're worried about the air conditioning and transmission. Whatever it is, they've got a plan that fits your budget that I think is pretty damn good. $99 a month. That's what their plans start at. But be specific. Call them today. 800-CAR-6000. 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%, or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Deputy managers, they sure attempted to muzzle, and for a while there I was muzzled. So I hope that she doesn't go through that.
Sarah Palin talking about Kamala Harris in a very, are you ready for this? In a very real and human way. What?
I had a great discussion with Geraldine Ferraro when I was chosen. I called her, and we were able to kind of bond over, this unique experience that she had and that I was ready to have.
Yeah. And she actually has hopes for her.
I had so much fun, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was just the most amazing experience. To get to see America, to get to see Americans and who it is that makes this country so great.
Yeah, and I mean, that's totally different than seeing Russia. Chad.
I hope that the media will treat her candidacy not as personally rough as they treated mine, because a lot of the coverage of me was quite unfair.
It was. Look, it was absolutely, as much as you may dislike her, the way that things came out and about and the way that people went after her. And it was, and look, I don't think she was treated fairly. I don't. I do not believe for an instant she was treated fairly. And I think the media has learned, and we've come a long way. And I also think there was a lot of stuff that I don't think she was McCain's pick, and I don't even think they probably talked much after that. I think there was it was a much different time. She put her foot in her mouth. She made some mistakes along the way. Like yesterday. I mean, I watched that speech that Kamala and Joe gave, and she looked a little nervous. I understand that. People say, well, you pick her apart. I don't pick her apart. I do not think for an instant she would destroy our country. If you think that, then our country, if you think one person, whether it's Trump or Kamala Harris and Biden, are strong enough to destroy our country, then our country isn't worth what our Constitution says we have and are. They're not. They're not. They're not going to destroy our country. I think she is. She'd be a damn good candidate. I would think, in reality, I think I was sitting there yesterday and I tweeted it out. I think she's sitting there thinking, how did I lose to this guy? Looking at Biden, thinking, how? Well, you've got your chance. We'll see how she does. I think she'll do better against Pence than he will against Trump. That's just my opinion. But we'll see. And yeah, I'm going to criticize her because I'm going to treat her as I would treat anybody else. This is what we should be doing. Kamala. I'm kidding. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Didn't have to be this way. 6 years ago, in fact, we had a different health crisis. It was called Ebola.
Nope.
And we all remember that
Nope.
pandemic. But you know what happened then? Barack Obama and Joe Biden did their job. Only 2 people in the United States died. 2. That is what's called leadership. But compare that to the moment we find ourselves in now.
You can't compare that. You're not even comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing apples to chicken. You're comparing apples to a great white shark. It's totally different. It's like not even close. And it wasn't a pandemic. It was an epidemic in a small number of countries in Africa. That's what it was. You putting out a grease fire in your kitchen is not the same as you trying to put out a 10-alarm fire with a garden hose. We can argue that it should never have been a 10-alarm fire. We can totally argue that. But you living in a cabin in the middle of a desert and you have a grease fire and then you act like, well, if it wasn't for me putting this out, this thing would have spread to the entire world. It's a bunch of crap. I'm just saying. And people are arguing with me as if they've done something magical. In stopping something that hadn't spread. One doctor said, let me play you this analogy. There's a wildfire. And I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a wildfire. If you don't, and then he goes through, like, if you don't, cut and do all these things and break lines, that thing will spread. I said, absolutely. I said, but it'll eventually run out of steam. It's not going to destroy the whole world. And I live in a place where I'm surrounded by concrete and pretty much nothing else. So I can guarantee, unless you bring the fire here, put it on top of this place and light it everywhere, I have nothing to worry about. There's a giant fire right now in California. We've got fires here in Phoenix. You know what I'm not worried about? Any of those. Any of those. 11 people had it, of which 7 of them we brought here. So, no comparison. That's what happens, though. Trump gets, look, we can look at his response. You know what? Yesterday, we're watching him, give us a little speech to do. And they're like, just listen to him. Just listen to him. Just listen to his kindness. And it's just a different sound. I said, absolutely it is. He goes, and my on-air partner is just like, it just sounds so much more reasonable and just better. And there's a different tone. I said, oh, totally. There is. I said, but you've not asked about competency. You've not asked about any of those things. You're not asked. He sounds nice. I know a lot of nice people. I wouldn't trust him with a lot. I know a lot of people that are a-holes, and unfortunately, I've worked with a lot of people that way, and they're pretty good at their jobs sometimes. And sometimes there are great people who are really nice and great at their jobs. We'd love to have that. I don't think Biden's going to destroy America. I didn't think Trump was. Remember how many wars we were supposed to go to? Oh, my God. Here's something Trump won't get any real credit for today. Unfortunately, CNN had to break in from the panic porn that is nothing but the world's coming to an end coronavirus coverage. There was a historic deal done today. We're not talking about a little deal. We're talking about a historic Middle East deal between the United Arab Emirates, a Gulf Arab state, and Israel. Huge deal. They got Israel, right, to suspend its annexation plan in the West Bank. They got Israel to do that. And the United Arab Emirates said, we're going to give you full diplomatic relations. Egypt and Jordan are the only two other Arab countries that have anything to do with Israel as far as diplomatic ties. And mostly that's because nobody likes Iran and nobody trusts Iran. This is huge. Trump requested this, wanted to get to it. Won't get much credit for it. He won't. He won't. He goes after the pharmaceutical companies. Won't get much credit for it. Right? He did justice reform. Obama didn't do justice reform. Nothing really. Actions to me are far more important than whether or not he cusses and makes people feel uncomfortable. I don't like it because to me, I think it takes away from so much of the other stuff. I get it, though. He's a fighter. He likes to fight. He loves to fight. That's who he is. He drives me crazy. I've said the stuff that, the way that he's handled this, the pandemic and the coronavirus hasn't been good. But I also look and say, governors haven't been good either. So there's plenty of blame to go around. Let's just figure out how, blaming right now isn't going to fix the problem. We need to do the best we can to fix the problem. And we may have to come to the realization that the problem's going to be fixed based on time. Nothing we're going to be able to do at this moment in time is probably going to fix it today. Science and time will probably get us the answer that we need towards this. Can we buy enough of that? That's what we need to figure out. And I think we will. We're going to get through this. I'm not worried about that. But as much as Trump drives me crazy, I can look at some of his actions. I like the fact that he wanted to slow down illegal immigration. I didn't see a problem with that. I didn't see a problem with that at all. I like the fact that he held some of our supposed allies' feet to the fire, especially when it comes to chipping in the money they're supposed to be. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, we're carrying a lot of this weight. I like the fact that he goes after China. I don't like the fact that he doesn't get in Putin's face. But when you look at the sanctions, and what he's done, I get on board with that. I understand what he did with North Korea. I did. I totally understand what he did. He thought, I'm a salesman. I could sell this guy. I think he realized you can't sell crazy. So there's a lot of stuff. But the continual fighting, the tweeting about crap, like today he's tweeting about Morning Joe and their ratings. You don't need to be doing that. You're the president. But that's what he does, and people love it. People do. Do I think he's going to win? No idea. I have absolutely no idea. But I think we're all too often you can look at the culture we live in now and look at that. We're more concerned about words than we are actions. We're more concerned about were your feelings hurt, not did we solve a problem. How is Trump on the economy? Pretty damn good. Well, it's his fault now. No, everybody. By the way, our economy, while struggling, and it has, we will bounce back. We'll bounce back faster than everybody else. It's not going to be a flip of a switch. Like I said, we're going to have to go. We're going to have to go to the closet. We're going to have to figure out where the light bulb is. We're going to have to get the light bulb. We're going to have to come in. We're going to have to screw it in. We're going to take the other one, throw it away, turn it on. It's one of those LEDs. It can take a long time, but it will come back. It will. So there's a lot that we can go, yeah, if we're looking strictly at actions. Take away the R and the D, and Trump, you don't know who he is. You don't have, same thing like I've always said with Kamala Harris. If you saw just her record as a prosecutor, as the AG, you would say, she's pretty tough on crime. But then you throw an R in there, or a D, and then you go like, well, I got to look at it over here now. Oh, now I see the flaws. If you didn't know who Trump was and you told him all these things, this is what this person's done, this, and this, you'd be like, well, that's not bad. But then you throw in, because you had to tell the whole story, right? He did this, he said this, he did this, he said this, he did this, he said this. Oh. But we tend now only to look at the warts or the beauty. We don't like the package. And that sucks. Because I think you got to look at everything. You have to look at everything. And I'm good with that. I can be honest about Trump and say, I didn't like this. And I can be honest and say, I did like this. I could look at Biden and say, I don't think he's a racist. And I don't think he'd drive our country into the ground. And at the same time, I don't know, once we find a vaccine or we realize we're going to have to figure some way around this thing and just learning to live with it, around it, and through it, and we start to get back to the normal way of life, that he is going to turn the jet engine on and rocket our economy. We'll see. At the end of the day, though, we've stopped being actually open-minded enough to look and go, okay, I hear the noise, but what are the real actions? Name calling, all of that stuff. What are the real actions? What do they look like? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hello, Fresh. Last night, D to the licious. Some tacos. Tonight, don't know what I'm going to have. But I know it's going to be delicious. 22 chef-curated, tasty recipes every week from HelloFresh. So they put these things together. Now, you have a choice. Next week, I am going on the low-calorie. I want to try it. I've tried, like, when I first did it, they send me a couple meals from each. I'm going to try a whole week, see what that looks like. They've got vegetarian, and they've got family-friendly. I've been doing the family-friendly, as we all know. That's what I like. I like the food, because normally I always tell her, I have the taste buds of a 7-year-old, which is, they're like, can I just have 6 days of corn dogs and But they send me food that's amazing, and it's incredible, and it's so easy. I can do it. 40% less than shopping at the grocery store. I already see that. And this is what's great. I just love this. 20 minutes. From the time I get home, unpack, get everything ready, get it into on the stove or into the oven, into my belly. About 20 minutes, sometimes less. They're flexible. You want to add meals, you want to skip a week, whatever it is, HelloFresh has you. Now you're going to save $80 and get free shipping when you use promo code Benson at HelloFresh.com. That is HelloFresh.com, promo code Benson to save $80 and free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
The bulk of what they have in the bill goes to only schools that are opening actually.
That right there is Nancy Pelosi. You can hear that disdain in her voice. The bulk of what the money would be inside of the bill. Why is there money inside the bill for any of that stuff? Why aren't we just dealing with one thing at a time? When you have too many things going on, less gets done because you're too busy arguing about it. And then when you finally do get something done, it ends up costing the American people more money.
This administration and the Republicans in Congress have never understood the gravity of the situation.
Which is, we need to spend more money all the time on everything. Case closed. No, we don't. That is not true. We don't. Let's deal with it. Am I wrong to say, can't we just do as they would say, a skinny bill? A clean bill? Is that a bad thing? It's bizarre when you say stuff like that. Well, you can't say stuff like that because everybody needs it. We don't need to fix everything right now. Let's deal with one thing at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Why would you eat an elephant? I don't know. But you get where we're going with this. I guess you could use whale or anything. But, why would you not just deal with the thing at hand? Stimulus that includes your $600 a week that you want. Nancy. And I'm looking at you Republicans going, you guys give in on this one. Because they're going to then go, you can then go, okay, fine, but we want to make sure that the liability side of things is blanket. So people don't have to worry about liability. Businesses, any of this stuff, that they don't have to worry about that. And then we go from there. Shouldn't be that hard. Other news today, big news, won't be talked about much because it's geopolitical and it's big and it's
President Trump said a historic peace agreement has been made between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said Israel and the UAE will exchange embassies and ambassadors and begin cooperation across the board. The president expected other countries to follow the UAE's lead on this going forward, saying, quote, "We are already discussing this with other nations." Catherine Faulders, ABC News, Washington.
That's huge. Israel's going to have diplomats in the United Arab Emirates, a Gulf state. That's massive. You get them in Egypt? That's the goal. No, it's not. It's Africa. It's different. This is massive. This is a huge deal. And Israel said, you know what? Our annexation, they're in the West Bank and everything, we're gonna cool our heels on that. That's a big blanking deal. To have any kind of half-ass peace in a place where they've never had peace, long before our politics ever came around, they have been fighting. This is pretty big. Doesn't mean it's going to hold up. Many times these things aren't worth the paper they're written on. This seems a little bit different. Still, kind of big news. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Love hearing from you. Check out the Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. Have yourself a blessed, wonderful day and weekend. I'm off tomorrow. Going to take a little me time. Be back on Monday. We'll do it again. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.